Ah, good morning, good morning. Everybody want to take a deep breath? We have to always remember and stay focused on that. So come on. I just want you to take a moment and recognize that in spite of everything may seem like it's going crazy, you still have breath. You and I both, we can breathe easily. I didn't even look at my list this morning. I just did everything and kept on going. How are you? I thought I'd hop on today right quick with a Tuesday tip to just say to you that always happens for a reason. Even though you may not know what it is, there's still a reason why certain things happen. The world and the universe isn't just being mean to you or to us. Um, Sometimes when we're in the storms of life or we're in the process of what we're in, transformation and evolution, it can seem like you're being picked on to some degree. And I'm sure there's a part of you that's like, I don't want to do this. I wouldn't have agreed to this. This isn't what I want at this point in my life. But what I want you to know today, excuse me, is that it all happens for a reason. Now, this isn't just something to accept. It really is for you to move into, to begin to have and nurture and cultivate within yourself. So that you can say to yourself, that seems like a lot of picture behind me and a little bit of me. So you can say to yourself, okay, I know this is happening for a reason. I may not know the reason. However, I know that there is a reason that this is happening. So that's the first thing I want you to do. Everything around you, recognize there's a reason. And there's usually a reason bigger than what we're looking at. Usually what we get caught up in is the fact that it's not going the way we want it to go. And I suspect for many of you, even for me at first, when we first started this year, it's just not going the way we wanted it to go. And as the year continues to unfold, you may still think it's still not going the way you want it to go. When we do that, we allow ourselves to get into what I call resistance, and we're pushing against the reality. And the reality is like the stream may be flowing this way, and we keep thinking, but the stream should be flowing this way. And as long as we keep thinking it should flow a different way, we resist the flow that it is flowing. We resist what's actually happening. So we create our own internal kind of push and pull and struggle by resisting it. Because there's that small part of us that thinks it knows what's going on, and it's like, this should not be going this way. This should not be happening. And it adds to our frustration, our fear, our worry, and most importantly, it adds to a sense of not being in control. So I want you to be able to embrace this mindset that it's happening for a reason. The world is shifting for a reason. What's happening with the president is for a reason. What's happening with schools is for a reason. What's happening with the health crisis is for a reason. The question for us is to begin to ask, what's the reason? Why is all of this happening right now? What does it mean for me, for my life and my flow, and how I live my life? So when we begin to ask those questions and listen quietly, we'll get the answers. You don't have to figure it out on your own. The universe is more than willing to answer your questions, but you have to ask, how come this is happening? What is it supposed to unfold for me in this process? So one of the things I want you to begin to realize is that when you can accept the fact that everything happens for a reason, then you can let go of the control. See, part of what keeps the struggle going is we want to different degrees, want to control everything. As if we could. As if we could, as opposed to asking for help, waiting for that help, listening for that help, and then taking that action. We want to be able to control everything. When you accept this mindset, everything happens for a reason. There are no accidents. Even though I know that's hard for people to believe, there are no accidents. There's no people dying by accident. There's no businesses closing by accident. Everything is happening for a reason. But here's the caveat that you want to say to yourself is I may not understand why it's happening, but I trust the universe and I know that something's happening for a reason. And that ultimately, as is everything for us from the universe, it's for our highest good. Now we have to claim it as that. We have to say that, have that mindset, and live from that mindset. When things don't go as you wish, when things don't happen the way you think they're supposed to happen, to be able to say, it's okay. I know that's a big one, right? The stimulus check didn't come. You didn't get as many hours maybe this week as you thought you would have so you could make the ends meet going forward. Or your stimulus check did come and you are beyond making your ends meet and you do have the money that you need, but there are other pieces in your life that that aren't showing up the way that you'd like for them to. And whenever anything doesn't show up the way we want it to, in our little narrow ideals, then we get upset, we get annoyed because we want to control it. I think one of the biggest things we struggle with is being able to release the control we think we have, to accept something bigger that might be impacting our lives and our relationships, and actually might be impacting the goals that we say that we want to see showing up in our lives. We can't manifest what we want to see showing up in our lives until we let go and allow it to flow in through us, to flow in through our life, through different experiences. Plus, every experience isn't for us. Some are specific to us. Some we're just like on the sidelines, even though we may feel like we're in it, but it's something for us to witness and be aware of. So when you can let go of the fact that, okay, I wish that I could return to work. Or I wish that the kids could go to school. Or I wish that I could get my son to get up on time every single morning. Or I wish that I could get my husband to do this, this, and this, and this. We have all these desires that we want for everyone else outside of ourselves that we have no control over. And when it doesn't work, then we have the nerve to get upset. What about just letting go? What about just letting go and realizing this? How many times have you looked back at an experience that when you were in it, you were so sure when you were in it, it was wrong, it shouldn't have been going that way, and you couldn't see anything bigger? And then maybe a year later, you're sitting somewhere talking to someone and you realize, oh, that's what was going on in that situation. How many times does that happen? And so when you can have those insights, you can realize, okay, this may not be going the way I want it to go right now. Let me look beyond what's happening here in this moment. Let me see if there's something else I need to be learning from this. Let me see if I let this thought or ideal or dream that I had about how things should be, if I let that go, what will step in its place instead? I tell you, I have come to learn in this mindset of trusting God, life, in the universe, that a lot of our plans are really small. And the plans that the universe has for us are a lot larger. And when we go through difficult moments, part of what it's doing is expanding us, because we're like this. We're like, okay, just keep everything like this, nice and neat. Everything, we're just kind of balancing everything, and we're afraid they're just going to topple one way or topple another way. When in reality, there may be something for us to recognize in the midst of our storms of life, something for us, a nugget for us to grab out of it. There's probably a bigger meaning to it that we haven't picked up yet because we're so much in our fear and our shame and worry and being in control that we can't just sit back for a moment and say, okay, let me see, what is God trying to do this morning? What is trying to unfold in my life? What is happening that I can't see? Because we're so trained to focus on what we can see. But you've heard God, life, and universe moves in mysterious ways. So why are you looking for what you can see instead of anchoring yourself in what you cannot see? There's always been a bigger message in every situation I found myself in. And I'm only speaking really from my own experience, because I can remember years being so upset with my custody with my son and a variety of different things. I wanted to be in control. I wanted it to happen this way. And when it didn't, I would just be devastated. So I finally gave it up, said, fine. I'm a trust in a power bigger and greater than me, knows everything, sees everything, takes care of everything. And in trusting that, living from that mindset, that everything happens for a reason. I may not know the reason, but I know there's a reason, and I know it's a divine reason. I know it's a reason bigger than the little small things that I'm thinking of. It's something bigger that's going to help me grow into being the person that I came here on this planet to be. And it's the same for you. You came here and you still are here because you're necessary on the planet right now. Your energy, your voice, your presence is necessary and needed on the planet right now. You truly understand what you're saying? Oh, thank you, Constance. So be willing to look beyond, the fact that, okay, this happened with the job, or this happened with your sister, or this happened with your cousin, or all the stuff that's happening with the politics. There's a bigger reason. And for me, it's always been that way ever since Trump came into office. I knew he came into office to disrupt. I knew he came into office to wake us up. I knew he came into office to shake things up. I also knew he came into office to rob the country of the money. But so I've never really been angry with that man. I refuse to give him my energy. I refuse to give him my attention. I refuse to be upset about him, because I know he really has a divine mission, and it was to get us where we are. We are so awake, Some of you are sitting there looking at TV like this, waiting to see what's going to happen next, way more than you ever have. You may have been following some soap opera, or you're looking at my show on a regular basis and wasn't even thinking about all that. But now you're awake, you're present, you're paying attention, you're looking at what choices you have, what options you can make. Oh, for my son, sorry. You're aware and you're awake. We weren't there in 2019. We weren't there in 2017. We weren't there in 2015. We were just chilling. And I have never found any reason to be upset with that man except for just simply watch him. He was an actor and he did good in his show or whatever he did. I just know he said, "You're fired." I don't remember the name of it. So I want you to be able, somewhere in there, to give yourself some soothing messages that says, okay, this is bigger than I ever expected. I'm having to face challenges I never expected, but you knew they might come. Maybe you just didn't prepare for them. So take this moment to say, how will I do it differently next time? How can I prepare differently? What can I do now to make things different for me in 3 weeks? What can I do now? How can I think differently? How can I look at the situation differently to see what God, life, and the universe really has for me through this experience? There's no experience that we're going through just to be mad, upset, and frustrated. It's all to bring us closer to stand in our faith. It's to get us out of fear. It's to get us out of trying to control what we have no control. We barely control ourselves. Come on now, you know that's true. Whether it's going shopping and buying things you don't need and don't want and don't use, to eating food you don't need, don't want, and don't use, control you. If we want to control everything out there, we want to control all the people. Control you. Focus on you. What's the best and the highest for you? And maybe that's the underlying message in all of what's going on. I clearly can see it was a time for families to come together. It was a time for communities to come together. It was the first time my community has felt like a community, similar to the community I grew up in, where you knew everybody, you could talk about everybody, laughed and talked or whatever. There's a lot that's coming out of this. And if you won't allow yourself to get caught up in the rhetoric of the overarching conversations with the president and the post office and voting and this and this, but look for the goodness of God in the midst of it. Ask, okay, what could this be trying to teach me that I don't know? What could be the greater lesson or the greater mission, the greater understanding I can gain from this that I don't know, that I don't see? See, everybody arguing about Trump is a distraction to some degree because it takes you away from focusing on yourself. It becomes an easy way for everybody to get into Facebook and go, I spent all this time. But how much are you giving to looking at everything happens for a reason? And ask yourself, what's the reason this is happening? And don't ask your head, because your head doesn't know. Your head has no clue. It's like, I don't know what's going on. Ask your heart. What am I supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to learn from whatever financial situation you find yourself in right now? What am I supposed to learn from whatever health crisis you may be experiencing right now? Whatever heart crisis you may be experiencing right now with family and friends, loved ones, and yourself. What is it that I'm supposed to get from what's happening right now? Because I don't get it all the time, but I trust and know that everything happens for a reason. Your internal exploration is to uncover what's that reason. Is it for you to have greater forgiveness? Is it for you to have greater understanding? Is it for you to access your willpower? Is it for you to trust your intuition more? What's the reason that all of this is happening on the planet? We know it's about transformation and evolution. We are exposed, the whole planet, the whole United States is exposed, so now we know everything. So I'm happy it happened. I'm sorry everybody is not, but I'm happy it happened. It made us stop walking around like this, thinking that some America is going to take care of us, and it allowed us to step into the shoes of our lives and take responsibility for our own lives. Not just looking for someone up there and saying, oh, the president's going to do this or the president's going to do that. Or feeling so beaten down and burdened by life that you just put your head down, you just work, go home, do the kids, work, and not really engage in life. So you can ask yourself this question. Everything happens for a reason. As you look in your life, what's the reason? What's the reason this could be happening? Hey, Crystal's back. Yay, you traveled safely and you made it back safely. That's good. I want to get on a plane so bad. So be willing to ask that before you run and get upset and get mad. Because like I told you some months ago, this is a marathon. We are maybe still in the middle of our marathon. If we looked at 26 miles, we've done about 12. We're going to be here until December. So we can already forecast what we're going to look at and hold on to. We're in August. So we got September, October, November, December. Because we can't get out of it any faster until we have a vaccine. But I want you to constantly be willing to step into the mindset. Everything happens for a reason. And many times we don't know until after the fact. We've gone down the road a little bit, and then we look back and we're like, oh, that's why mama did that. That's why my aunt did that. That's why my boss did that. That's why my sister did that. Or, more importantly, that's why God did that. And that's why that happened. I lost the job, or I lost the car. That's why that friend made their transition. It all happens for a reason. Our goal and responsibility is to be willing to look for that reason in our lives. And you look for it in your heart. You look for it in the stillness of your meditation or your contemplation. Why is this happening? Because it all happens for a reason. God, life, and the universe, share with me what's the reason. What am I supposed to learn from this? How is this going to empower me? How is this going to bring me closer to you, to trust you and lean on you and actively step into my faith? But not stand in the position of, oh, I'm a victim. Look what they're doing to me. This isn't fair. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. That's not what it's about. No, you're not a victim. None of us are victims. We have free will. We can make choices. We can make decisions. And long as we have that power and choose to exercise it, we're not a victim. And being a victim doesn't serve us. It gives us no power. It's so hard to live from that premise of, oh, I'm a victim. Look at me. Look what everybody's doing to me. Poor me. I don't know if we have time much for victims now. It's like, come on, we all have to rally up. We've got to stand strong. We have to put on, as one of my coaches used to say, put on our big girl panties, and we need to do what has to be done. But you want to do it from the perspective of, everything happens for a reason. Even if you can't see it and you don't know it, just live from that mindset. Let go of, I was teasing a friend yesterday because she likes to be in so control of everything and she wants to control it. She had no control the other day and I was just cracking up. I'm like, look at you. You can't control that, huh? No, I can't do it. I'm like, no, that's not for you to control. You can't control the sun. You can't control the stars, the moon. Some things we don't have any control over. But the most important thing, I'm sorry, I just know why I'm just not seeing that. The most important thing that we have control over is what we think, what we feel, what we do, and what we say. And that's quite a bit of control. It's quite a bit of control. So if you're one of those people that's all caught up in the argument or whatever with Trump, I knew Trump was happening for a reason when he was elected. And I knew it was for just what's happening now. This uprising on the planet, not just in Los Angeles or not just in Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, Philadelphia, those states. But the entire world is part of it. It wouldn't happen if it wasn't for his behaviors. So for that, I'm thankful for the man. And even when I think of him leaving, I'm like, oh God, are we going to go back to sleep again? We're just going to be going around, just doing the same old thing now. And I have nothing against Biden or Kamala or Camilla, however we're going to say her name. I just know we're awake and we're willing to take action and we're willing to make changes and we're willing to do things differently. And I don't want us to lose that. So when we look at everything happening for a reason, to me, that's the reason, was for us to wake up. If Mr. Trump, President Trump, first time I think I ever said it, didn't do anything else, he woke our butts up from thinking that there was something outside of us taking care of us. And instead for us to realize we are the ones responsible for our lives on a moment-to-moment, decision basis every single day. And we're making choices. We just have to decide we're making choices in alignment with what we want to see in our lives, with our families, in our community, and in our world. 3 years ago, we were just probably looking at making choices of what's going to happen to my family, and that was it. Now it's like my family, my neighbor's family, the neighbors down the street family, it's the kids around the corner, it's the people in Brazil, it's the people in London. Now it's everybody. It's not just us. And so for that, I want you to look at it and remember, everything happens for a reason. Your goal is to look for the reason in the stillness and the quiet, not to push back, not to be mad, not to fuss and argue about it, but okay, this is all happening for a reason. The schools are closed. Our skies are magnificently clear now. We're not driving our cars. People are not working. Entrepreneurs are still doing business. Everything is happening for the reason. So universe, what's the reason? Maybe it's oneness. Maybe it's a deeper love. Maybe it's recognizing that that person over there, just because their skin color is really the same as me. But that's the question we want to begin to ask. It's happening for a reason, because everything happens for a reason. What's the reason in your life that certain things are happening? Okay? That's all I got for today. I feel good today just because I just woke up today. I've got continuing education units I need to do. I've got 3 more classes I think I need to take. School has started for the young man. He's in 11th grade. And I guess they had the national convention thing last night. I didn't look at that. I really don't want to look at any of it. I just don't care. I want what's going to help us grow, what's going to help us come together, what's going to help us think about each other in different ways. So I don't want to look at all that. Same old, blue against the red, whatever. And now some red are joining the blue, which is good, which is great. You know, people are telling us, well, we already knew. They were robbing the presidency and whatever. Okay, fine. What are we going to do going forward as a humanity, because it's everybody, and then what are we going to do individually on our own, in our lives and in our families, in our communities? Okay, take good care, Constance. Good to see you. Hey, Crystal, I'm glad you're back. Hey, Kat, I know you'll be on here later. Take good care. It's Tuesday, August 16th. That's the only way I keep track of time. Have an incredible day. See you tomorrow.